Good morning. So this Sunday we have a great life discernment before us, and it's one that we encounter pretty much every day of our lives. Are we going to trust in mankind? Or do we actually follow and trust God? Your answer to this, not so much in your words, as a matter of fact, not whatsoever in your words, but rather in the way you live your life, according to what we hear in our scriptures today, will determine blessings and curses for eternity, happiness or woe, and the greatest of all rewards, or not, our own personal resurrection. The deeper we consider the life that God is offering in this world, we realize that it's not really what the majority of people would readily choose as happiness, rewarding, or for that matter, even logical. Rather, if we're honest about it, the offer of man is what appeals most to us as it's comfortable, stable, and appeals to common sense. You don't understand what I mean? Let's unpack the readings that we have this Sunday a little bit, because they offer us a structure that allow any soul that will read them in any time or culture to discern who they're actually following. The first reading is kind of the Old Testament, straight up and down, cut and dry biblical truth. Pretty easy to understand. Cursed is the one that trusts in human beings. Can't talk like that anymore. It doesn't get you very far. Because if he does so, he turns away from God. But the one who trusts in the Lord, he will triumph in the end. So when you hear that, I think the majority of people are going to respond when it's like, well, who do you trust? You know, mankind or God? Well, I trust in the Lord. Well, not so fast. So Paul's going to give us level 2 of this, where I think it would, even though it seems like it's harder to live in the Old Testament, it's actually way harder to live in the New Testament because things become much more clear, right? He's going to say, essentially, it's this, that if you trust God, you're going to believe this radical thing, that this man, this carpenter from nowhere in Galilee, was actually God, and after he was brutally put to death, believe it or not, he resurrected from the dead, healed, nonetheless, in a glorified body, which we had never heard of before, and now is alive. And because of this radical belief and trust in it, which is now what trusting God is, pretty much everything that the world offers, if you're going to follow him, you will be called to absolutely reject. Because that's what he stood against. Therefore, to the rest of the world, you are going to seem to have completely, carelessly thrown your life away in pursuit of this man. And the promise is going to be somewhere off in a distant time that you don't know about. He's going to raise you from the dead too. Therefore, if you're his follower like him, your life will be totally at odds with the regular culture of any time after he had lived. And it doesn't matter, because there's a whole nother life coming. However, there's a little caveat. He says, if he hasn't been raised from the dead, then we're the most pitiful of all people, because we have, in fact, thrown our life away, but he has been raised from the dead. And therefore, if you really believe it, you will follow this way, and this is what trusting in God means, because you believe that your resurrection in him will happen. Do you actually believe that? And I'm not just talking with your mind and your words, like, well, do you believe it? Well, yes, I believe. Look at your life. I got to look at my life. and wonder whether or not I believe it. Because that's taking us to level 3, in which if we say that we do, we have to take what Jesus is teaching, who is this God-man raised from the dead, going to raise you from the dead, totally seriously. These teachings aren't just like, hey, I got a real nice idea for you, everybody. You know what, though? If you don't like it, hey, you're going to raise from the dead anyway, so don't worry about it. No, he's serious when he's teaching. The blessings and the woes, right? It's not like the options and the choices. These blessings or woes are an absolute redefinition of life as we know it. And if you take them seriously, from the standpoint of man, they are going to be seen as unhealthy living or mental insanity. Who would want to do any of this? Hear him again, just in case you might have missed him. Now think about the American way, or any other way in any other point in time in the ways of the world. Blessed are you who are poor. Really? Last time I checked, we're the richest empire ever to exist in the history of humanity. Worth $270 trillion. There are no poor. Blessed are you who are hungry. We threw away 300 million pounds of food the day after Thanksgiving. Blessed are you who are now weeping. I thought I was supposed to have a good time. Blessed are you when they hate you, and when they exclude, cancel you, insult you, and denounce your name as evil. On the account of your faith. Oh, are we cowards in the culture that we're living in? We're afraid of our own family. So that's what it means to be blessed. Here are the woes. Woe to you who are rich. I thought it was a virtue. Woe to you who are filled now. Do you have the means to have what you want in life? Like if you want to go buy something on Amazon, do you just get on and do it? That's being filled. And I'm preaching to myself, everyone. Right in there, I'm in the mix with you. Woe to you who laugh now. And woe to you when they all speak well of you. As St. Ignatius of Loyola said so clearly, titles, honors, and riches are the road to damnation. So, simply put, God's way, level 3 here, is an absolute contradiction to the life that we are taught and raised in. But that life that we are taught and raised in ends in death. Unavoidable death. Tragic death many times. And this life of absolute contradiction that we are called to live ends with the resurrection of the dead. So it is as radical of a life as it is to believe that after you go down into that grave, some God out there is going to bring you up from the dead. And the way that you show you believe it is by completely becoming a brand new creation in this life that is a contradiction to the present death that we're living. And the world sees it as insane. Maybe we see it as insane. But for the one who actually trusts and follows God, this is that narrow way that he talked about. And if you recall, he added to the statement, how few find it. Now, the tendency when we hear all this, at least for me, is to push it onto other people, right? As we hear the woes and the blessings, and we're like, well, no, I'm actually poor. It's all those billionaires and millionaires out there. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, you bad people. Forget about my investments. So I thought we'd just end with a simple question. Distill it down. As you sit here in the pew, are you poor, hungry, weeping, and hated for your faith because you live it with such zeal? Or are you comfortable, filled with what you want, happy, and spoken well of for who you are and what you have done and the titles that you hold? Only you can honestly answer that question. As for me, my soul cries out in the sacrament of reconciliation time and time again. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of the living God, have mercy on me, a sinner.